Let's talk a little Aggie baseball, shall we? Heath Clary's a contributor for TexAgs.com. He writes stories for TexAgs and features, and many of you have seen his work, and you've heard him on the radio show as well. He does an outstanding job, and he's got a brand new book out. And the book is, this is a fantastic read, ladies and gentlemen. The book is called All It Takes Is Everything You've Got, a season inside one of college baseball's best programs. The foreword is by Ross Stripling, and TexAg's own Heath Clary has written this thing, looking back on the inside of Aggie baseball throughout an up-and-down year in 2019 with so many interesting storylines and insight that you can only – I cover this team. I've covered this team for 15 years. You can only find this stuff in this book. And as a fan of college baseball in general, or as a fan of just what life is truly like on the inside of a program, and especially if you're an Aggie, you're going to want to go to heathclary.com, heathclary.com, or Aggie Baseball Book. Be one heck of a good stocking stuffer for the Aggie or college baseball fan in your life. Heath, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Hey, thanks, Gabe. Doing great.
Was that a good enough intro? I know you wrote it, so I want to make sure I read that properly.
No, that was fantastic. Yeah, thank you for that.
I'm just kidding. Well, how does it feel to be holding your own book? All right. What are you, 23 years old?
22.
22.
Yeah.
To be holding these kids, holding your own book, knowing that the thing is finished, right? Because it's a behemoth to work on something like this. Yeah. So many hours. And then now to be in this sort of promotional excitement phase, right? How does it feel to be to this point of it?
Well, it feels incredible. I've always been a lifelong sports fan.
Yeah.
I guess always wanted to write a book. Never knew it would happen by the age of 22. But coming into the season, I had covered the team for 4 years, 3 years in college. I just asked the coaches, "Can I do this?" It's something I've always wanted to do. I think they trusted me and respected me enough to give me the opportunity, and I'm very grateful that they did. Yeah. And I'm very happy with the product as well.
Oh yeah, it's a great book. Like I said, and the way I put it in you put it on the back cover too. How about that?
Gabe Bock,
I didn't pay enough to get that. I've covered Aggie baseball for more than 15 years, and there are countless stories and details from Heath in this book that were brand new to me. This is a must-read for any Aggie baseball fan or fan of college baseball, and it's exactly right. And you're going to learn so much, all the way to the very last out, or even Blom's home run in West Virginia. You were right there. You were a part of those conversations. This is actually, Heath, I got to imagine, I think Kendall Rogers would tell you this too, I think it's actually in his endorsement, unprecedented coverage for any reporter in college baseball history.
Right. To my knowledge, nobody's ever done it. But yeah, so Bryce Blom, before he hits the big home run, I'm standing at the bat rack, as he goes up to the plate. I hear him talking to Seeley to look for the slider. I hear what Seeley and Bolt are talking about between innings as it's happening. Yeah. So an amazing experience, opportunity of a lifetime.
It's actually kind of how you started it, and it's just like any good documentary where you start and then you go back and then you get back to that point.
Right.
It's exactly the way you sort of started it, was that moment. You just wish that had propelled this team to Omaha, and this team's the last team standing. All of a sudden, you're selling these things hand over fist. But a good story, like John Feinstein wrote a book about Bob Knight, and it wasn't one of his good teams. It was a season on the brink. There are great stories, even if it on up and down type of teams, where it doesn't go well, and it creates curiosity of, why'd you write about this team?
Well, it helped too, because just the season that I expected them to have, they had a great coaching staff, so many good players who have had success in the past. You had several guys get drafted, several guys who I think you got guys like Asa Lacy and Zach DeLoach who are going to get drafted. And then several other guys who knows what their future holds. So even though it didn't have the ending that we wanted, which was a trip to Omaha, hopefully a deep run, still very proud of the product. I think very enjoyable still, because all those storylines are still in place despite the regional appearance.
Sure.
And still, you win 39 games, 16 SEC games, win a game in the tournament, and then finish second to a Duke team that almost beat Vanderbilt. So it's not like it was a bad season, just maybe not as great as we would have hoped.
Yeah, exactly right. And Heath Clary with us. Now, if you got any questions along the way about the book or about this Aggie baseball team or anything, any baseball-related topic, question, you can fire it off to us right now. You can actually pick up the telephone and call us on the 12th Man Technology Hotline, or text in Commerce National Bank text line 979-693-1150. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay. Is the trust factor that Rob had in you, it goes beyond anything I've ever kind of experienced in terms of trusting a guy to have that sort of access and to do it the right way, but he did take us back to that conversation when you reached out to him and the coaches and said,
Right.
hey, this is my idea. What do you think?
Well, I touch on this in the introduction.
Yeah.
I had covered them for 3 years pretty extensively. I thought I had done a pretty good job. I thought they liked me enough to give me, to hear me out. So I go in there first to Coach Seeley, the recruiting coordinator. I felt like I had the best relationship with him. Ask him what I wanted. I said, hey, if y'all say no, y'all are going to say no, but I really want to ask you this. Just hear me out. They asked a few questions. Coach Seeley, Coach Bolt.
Were you nervous?
I was a little bit nervous, yeah. even Coach Seeley and Coach Bolt said, stop being so sheepish. Just talk to us. Okay. But, yeah, a little nervous for sure. And then they kind of gave their stamp of approval, said, here's what you need to do. Go on one page, just one page, and write what you want from Coach Childress. His time is valuable. One page, outline what you're going to need in terms of access and stuff like that, and see what he says. Let him sign off on it. So I go there. That very, very day I do it. A couple days later, I'm in Coach Childress's office. I think he's going to say yes, but my expectation maybe with some caveats, like you can see this, but you can't do this, or whatever.
There's certain meetings.
Right.
Maybe we don't want you in.
Or the dugout. Maybe you can't be in the dugout.
Sure. I can see that being a place on the outside.
So I give him the paper, the one piece of paper. I say, here you go, Coach. I got something for you. He looks at it for maybe 5 seconds. Okay. And then he said, he doesn't say you can do this, but he says, well, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to be around a lot. Which is
that startled you a little bit?
Well, yes. I didn't know what to say because that's exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Just be around as much as possible because if I was going to do the book, I made a promise to myself, like I'm going to do it 100%.
Yeah.
Not just a, halfway job.
Oh, we could do a whole slideshow of how many hundreds of times you were right behind Childress.
Exactly.
I mean, did Childress ever be like, dude, like you're right behind me?
Never.
Give me a little space.
No,
I'm calling pitches here.
And never once did they ask me to like leave or can't listen to this or anything like that. I was there the whole time.
Dugouts, some road trips.
Yep. Everything.
Coaches meetings.
Yep.
How about post-game celebrations? What was that? Or did you just kind of decide, I'm going to go here and not go there? Or?
Yeah, I just decided.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into specifics.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it was a great experience and something that I'll never forget, and something that so few people will ever get to experience.
Right.
So I feel very fortunate that they let me do it.
That's why I was going to ask you, is this book just for the Aggie, or do you feel like the college sports fan and baseball fan in particular is going to get a lot out of this?
No, I think just a college sports fan in general, just because it's something that you never read about. I think there's lessons too in the book that you can learn from, handling adversity, guys going through slumps. Also, just reading the personal profiles of the different players. You see a guy like Braden Shoemake. He wasn't on the A team of his select team until his senior year in high school. And he turns out to be probably the best recruit from that class for A&M, first-round pick, All-American. John Doxakis, not a hard thrower in high school. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of teams wanted him, but he went to Aggie camps. His family's Aggies. Yep. Coach Childress gives him a chance. And he becomes a second-round pick, All-American.
And, of course, his dad is a pitcher a pitching instructor and all about arm health. And you see this guy continue to rise once he's at Texas A&M. Right. You did a lot on Rob in terms of his methods to why he's built this reputation of working with pitchers.
Right. The quote from Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball, his history as a pitching coach is absolutely immaculate. That was the quote in the book. Kendall Rogers was nice enough to sit down with me a few times.
Yep.
And so I got to see it all. I got to see one of the best pitching coaches in the country, Rob Childress, in action, literally right behind him as he's calling every pitch. In SEC games, I can hear him talking to the catcher because it's on the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
So I learned so much. I thought I knew a little bit about baseball. I learned a ton, and now I watch baseball a little differently because I've spent time with those guys. And I just can't say how great of an experience it was.
As the Aggie, too, this also goes way back. So it goes back to basically, the story goes summer of 2005, and he takes over this program, and then what 2006 was like, and it was a disaster. And then Rob had to make a whole lot of decisions, tough decisions. Mm-hmm. You chronicle all that, too, in the rebuild. And in 2007 and 2008, they rebuilt the program pretty fast.
Right.
Year two, this thing was kind of humming.
Right. So that's another thing. If you're just an Aggie, you like Aggie sports, maybe you don't love Aggie baseball, but you like Aggie athletics in general. I mean, this has a lot of history, historical stuff. And that turnaround in 2007, 2008, marvelous. They go from 25 wins to almost 50, almost a trip to Omaha, if not for playing Rice, which was, one of the best teams in the country at the time.
Yep.
You had profiles, Parker Dalton, Blake Stouffer, Brandon Hicks were all kind enough to share their memories.
Well, and Parker Dalton had the cancer scare, overcame cancer. He was like a 270 hitter.
Yeah.
And then he hit like 330 his senior year.
He was going to be the fourth string second baseman.
Yeah.
He becomes the starter, hits 350.
Yeah.
The quote from him, the story, he almost quit. He was ready to quit. He comes to his exit meeting with Coach Childress, Coach Dex. He says, "Are we going to be any good?" Because coming off a 25 and 30 season, are we going to be any good? Coach Dex says, "Yes, we're going to be good." Coach Childress says, "Yeah, we're going to right the ship." And they did, and they go to the Super Regional, the doorstep of Omaha, and that's an amazing turnaround.
Well, we'll take a time out. We got much more than the time allotted, and that's why we're going to have to do this again because the book is fantastic. Okay, I'm going to show you a little photo. I'm going to flash this right here for you. All it takes is everything you got. A season inside one of college baseball's best programs right now for your dad, your brother, your mom, your aunt, your little sister. Buy this book. HeathClary.com, AggieBaseballBook.com, whatever's easier. If you want to spell his name, put .com on it. If you want to put AggieBaseballBook.com, then go to the same location with author and TexAgs Baseball contributor Heath Clary with us. We'll close hour 2 next. All right, welcome back. A quick check of the Commerce National Bank text line with Taylor Couch. Taylor?
Roy May said, "I just wanted to say Happy Veterans Day to all my brothers and sisters in arms. Gig 'em and beat the hell out of those who take arms against the great nation." Absolutely.
All right. Heath Clary back with us, author and TexAgs Baseball contributor. Again, the book, all it takes is everything you've got. A season inside one of college baseball's best programs. And the foreword is, I told you right at the intro, is Ross Stripling. And he couldn't have nailed it any better. What a great foreword from Stripling. And I tell you what, I learned a couple things just hearing his account of the early days of Rob Childress.
Right. I mean, he's a guy who was touring A&M on his new student conference. He decides to
business major,
right? Finance, just like me.
Yep.
His dad convinces him to go. Let's go talk to Coach Childress. Ross is like, I don't really want to do it. That might be weird. He's probably not going to want to see us.
His dad's dad was a Yale leader.
Yep. And his dad is also an Aggie.
Yes.
His whole family's Aggies.
A's.
Sure enough, Coach Childress is there. Hears him out. They have a good chat. Give him an opportunity to be a preferred walk-on, and his first fall's okay. Doesn't get a lot of guys out. Pretty high ERA,
like a 9.
Yep. And then he becomes an All-American.
But he thinks he's getting cut.
Right.
He's like, "There's no way they're bringing me back."
Yeah.
But and come to find out through the foreword is he only got a chance because like either that day or a couple days prior, Nathan Eovaldi, big leaguer, stud actually. I mean, he's good. He decides, "Coach, out of Alvin, I'm not going to school." Right. And Rob was upset about it because he's like, "I can develop you into a monster in college. And look at all this. We've developed this guy, that guy." So he only had a spot because Eovaldi left, and there never would have been Stripling.
Yeah.
He never would have had an opportunity to come in the fall and have a 9 ERA and still get brought back for the spring.
Yep. And then he becomes an All-American, one of the best pitchers in A&M history.
Wow. By numbers, he's a top 5 guy.
Yep. Just an amazing story, and pitched with Michael Waka, too, on that same team with Tyler Naquin. Just an amazing story, and very thankful that Ross agreed to write that forward because it really epitomizes everything that Aggie baseball is all about under Coach Childress.
Yeah, a kid from Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, who, by the way, because it was going to mess up their rotations, was not allowed to walk the stage because it was going on during a start that he was scheduled to make on a Saturday morning. So all he did was go out there and throw a no-hitter.
San Diego State.
Yeah, against San Diego State. What else do we need to get to in the last minute and a half? We are going to do a part 2 of this, no doubt, into story. We've got to do that. But for now, what do you want to leave people with?
How about just, the subtitle, one of college baseball's best programs? I'll just leave with two numbers. Since 2015, playing in the best conference in college baseball, 5th in all of college baseball in winning percentage, and 6th in overall wins.
Yeah.
So they haven't had the Omaha success that we want, but no question, one of baseball's elite college baseball programs.
Well, I'll just tell you, quick hitters, the book hits a lot on recruiting, and it's a quirky sport. It's a quirky thing. Like if I just get a whole bunch of top 10 list guys, I'm going to have 0 players on campus.
Right.
So it's a sliding scale, but you don't want bad players. It's really tough thing. You got to be a mathematician to figure out all the stuff. You kind of get into that. The strength of the league, you talk about it, all the profiles on guys. And then this in-season adversity that hits Bryce Blom with an injury he had to battle through. Tough-minded son of a gun. Honer, same thing. Coleman gets hurt, so there's a lot.
And you lose a guy, Jonathan Childress, freshman,
Yes.
in the middle of the season, and you have to regroup. Christian Roa steps up.
That's right.
And now it looks like he's a stud as well.
And you get into that, too, when they beat Vandy, the eventual champs, and Roa outduels Kumar Rocker that day.
Yep.
So you dive into just so much stuff. It's great for the Aggie. It's great for the college baseball fan or the college sports fan in general. If you like stories that have kind of never been told, you like stories that are a little unique because the unprecedented access, he's got you covered. All it takes is Everything You've Got by Heath Clary. HeathClary.com, AggieBaseballBook.com. Heath will do it again. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe.